Welcome to the newest episode of Progressive. I'm here with my co-host and one of my best friends, Beleh. We are so excited to welcome Mike Nellis to the show. Mike, welcome.
Hey, happy to be here.
And we're a little disappointed to welcome him because he said he's not excited for GTA 6. I don't appreciate
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
by the
Mike,
way.
what's up with that? Like,
All right, I
we're
one,
losing the young men vote right here by you just
I
saying that.
fine. I'm too old to have the time to play Grand Theft Auto 6. And I also feel like unless they and look, I'll wait for the reviews and for it to come out because it hasn't come out yet, right?
No, they
No,
got
okay.
pushed for another year.
It got pushed for another year. So like if they come out and it's got some like new fun twist on it, I'll fine with it. But if it's the same game, I'm not gonna like it. And I get this way with Madden football too, where I'm like they just keep releasing the same thing over and over and over again. I know it's been a while since GTA 5, but I don't know. I want Red
Madden,
Dead
I get.
Redemption 3. That's what I want.
Red Dead is Red Dead's great. Madden, I get being annoyed with it just because they release like a new edition every single year, and it's like, oh, these minor tweaks they don't matter. But like GTA 6 is supposed to like go back to Vice City. Like that's the nostalgia. I was like what, like 8 years old and I was playing Vice City. I don't know. My parents were like immigrant parents, so they didn't know like what games to
Yeah,
let
yeah.
me play or not play. So I was playing so I have like some of my fondest memories as a kid was playing Vice City. So going back to Miami, and then the characters are like super cool. The characters have so much more background information this time. You're kind of doing some like drug related stuff, but that's like always GTA 6. That's like that's GTA in essence.
Yeah, I'm very careful about which video games I go down the rabbit hole on, and part of it is just I don't have a lot of time. So like if I'm gonna get deep into one, it better be one I'm like really excited about. That's why Red Dead 2 is probably the last game I really like got obsessed with.
Yeah.
Because I that story, like I remember getting emotional when my horse died at the end of Red Dead 2, and I was like, why am I emotional about these pixels that are dying on screen? But yeah, I don't have the time, so it doesn't excite me the way that it used to. So
I mean,
You
not even
always
the
make
games,
time.
like, I mean, for GTA 6, like, I mean, GTA 5, it came out and like half the country called in sick to work. I mean, that was like living through history.
I'm not judging anybody for being excited about it. Let's be clear about that. I don't think I have the time to like get into it the way that I would.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. But also I think GTA is a game where you can like play like you can never play just 30 minutes. I was gonna say, oh, you can just like space it out. No, you're just gonna play for like hours and hours and hours. But I mean I'm excited to see the map is supposed to be really cool. You're able to like travel to the Florida Keys, I think. Which is like
Really?
super, yeah, you're like super interesting. There's like the long bridge that
Is
you
it
can
then
go
that my
on.
reaction is that I'd rather just go to the Florida Keys, like myself physically?
And losing the young men vote and
I'm
portraying
sorry.
us to
Well,
Republicans. Wow.
yeah. I mean, listen, I'm a Democratic strategist. I'm really good at losing young men. So
Okay, well,
That's
so I
crazy.
mean, in that vein, if you're really good at losing young men, let's talk about losing those young men. All right. So your first, the big notable thing that I was able to find was that you were a Harris advisor in 2020. So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, how did that turn out? And then you were running White Dudes for Harris. I mean, like, how did all those things come about?
So I was with Harris basically from when she was Attorney General until she joined the Biden ticket, and I was a consultant for her, and I ran and built all of her original digital apparatus. So I joke that sometimes I'm the accidental creator of the K Hive. So if the K Hive has ever abused you online, I apologize in advance for what I may have done to create that. I mean, they had their moments, but I mean, for me, it was. I had a nice career in the first 10 years of my career. I dropped out of college to go work for Barack Obama. I went back, got my degrees later, so I could, get apply for jobs, be successful. And had just gotten a chance to like learn a ton about digital. And I was working at a firm called Revolution, which doesn't exist anymore, but did all of Bernie Sanders' fundraising in 2016. And in 2016, because we were raising all the money at Revolution for Bernie, a lot of people came to us because they wanted that model for themselves. And one of them was Kamala Harris, who was running for Senate in California. And I got assigned her account. By the way, I got assigned her account. I demanded to be assigned on that account because I believed that she had the ability to get to where she ended up. And I believe she could have gone further, but she kind of got screwed in this last election. But I able to ride that out, built millions, raised tens of millions of dollars for her, built this massive digital apparatus for her. They made me a senior advisor for the presidential election, which her 2019 campaign was famously not great. I joke with some of the staffers from the 2024 campaign, which one was worse. We'll have to exchange it over a beer and find out. I had more than 100 days to do the work. They didn't. They only had 100 days, but she was always amazing. I loved working with her. Uh, she was good to me, good to my staff. She's the first person who called me when my son was born, so I always thought really highly of her. And it was a great opportunity for me because while the campaign in 2019 was not successful, if you talk to anybody, they will tell you that the digital program for that campaign was great. And I was surrounded with some really smart people like Shelby Cole, who's the mobilization director at the DNC now. Lena Mangabed is over there too, and just a whole bunch of other like really smart people that went off to do other really important things in the party.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think I remember like her launch. Her launch was great on social media, Kamala Harris for the people. And I wanted to ask, because you've done so much digital work, how have you seen the digital like footprint of Democrats evolve from barely having one, I would say, to I think now we have a kind of a more robust digital footprint that might be because we're out of power. We can have more dissenting voices online. So how have you seen that evolve, and how have you seen your work kind of evolve throughout the years as well?
Yeah. Well, there's much more vibrancy to it when you're out of power, which is unfortunate. And I think that part of one of the cycles we need to break is getting boring when we're in power, because we need to be as good at generating attention as we are when we're actually doing shit, because then people have no idea what we're doing, good or bad, half the time. Because people want to go to sleep. So I think 20 years ago when I got started, nobody knew what digital was. Nobody knew what the internet was. I would fight with clients to get an Twitter account. I just had an X account, but it was a Twitter account back then. And nobody knew what online fundraising is. The way I got into online fundraising, and for context for listeners, like I've raised over $1 billion in low dollar grassroots contributions for Bernie Sanders and Adam Schiff and Kamala Harris and Gretchen Whitmer and a whole bunch of other people. Mallory McMorrow, one of our current clients, that does that work. And at the time, the way I got into it was I was a finance assistant on a Senate race, and somebody was like, "Hey, Barack Obama's raising a lot of money online." This was the general election, so I was on a different campaign then. They were like, "Somebody want to figure out how to do it?" And I was like, "Yes, I'll figure it out," because I was whatever 19 and stupid and thought I could just figure anything out. And I did. And I did it mostly by copying like direct mail tactics that I had seen, and then like copying what the Obama campaign was doing. But we raised good money and then continued to do that. So what I watched was an industry that was burgeoning become very foundational to the core of how the Democratic Party raises money. There are hundreds of millions of dollars getting moved all the time through this grassroots fundraising apparatus that we have built. Now there's not 5 of us, there's hundreds of us that are doing this, and a bunch of different firms that are doing it, some of which do it the right way and try to tell stories and lift people up, and some of which do it in a really shitty way where they are treating people like they're ATM machines and lying to them, and then trying to scam and con them out of their money, which I hate, and I do not do that stuff for anybody who's worried that I might. Where I think we fell behind was we were really good at memes for a while. We were good at generating attention online, particularly in the Obama era, good at it when Trump was in power the first time. Under Biden, I think a couple of things happened. One, we were not an interesting party because our standard bearer was a 70-something-year-old man. And I love Joe Biden to death. I think he was a good president, a better president than people give him credit for. I don't think he was perfect, but he was a good president. But he couldn't do what we needed him to do as the person who had the bully pulpit. And the worst part about the last 4 years for the Democrats that got us in the situation that we're in today is that we had all the disadvantages of being in power and none of the advantages. Because Democrats are bad about using the levers of government to get shit done in a way that Trump has shown you can get a lot done. Now, he's using it a lot to destroy and grift, but we didn't do that to like help people. And that's a problem. And then 2, Joe Biden couldn't sit for long interviews. Joe Biden couldn't do the work that needed to be done. And like, that's because of his age. And I think Democrats need to say that. So it puts us at a competitive disadvantage against somebody like Trump, who you can't get to shut the hell up. Like on this Epstein stuff right now, at the time that we're shooting this, like he needs to shut up and stop talking, and he can't. Now that's his problem. When your opponent is drowning, hand him an anchor. And maybe we'll get into that a little bit later, but we fell behind on that. And then an additional problem, just to add a third on top of it, is we've gotten really cautious as a party on how we talk. And everything's got to be poll tested. Everything's got to be carefully calibrated. We have to use the right words at the right moment, at the right time, with the right crowd. Otherwise, we're going to piss off some corner of the internet that's going to get our candidates canceled. And that doesn't work. And so we got scared to go build surrogates that can go talk to Joe Rogan for 4 hours and defend the Democratic Party position. We got scared to put people on Andrew Schultz. We got scared to do all kinds of stuff. Like part of the reason I stepped out of the shadows, let's say, I sort of hate that phrase, by the way, is like I go out and I do right-wing TV. So I go do Piers Morgan and I do News Nation and I do Merit TV, which is Dr. Phil's TV network, like which by the way just filed for bankruptcy. So that's how good of an on-air personality they had in me. I'm not generating the clicks for them that they want or the views, but we need more people that are going to go do that, and we don't have enough. And so there's this ongoing conversation about how do we create the left Joe Rogan, which is the dumbest conversation I've ever heard in the history of the Democratic Party. First of all, the left Joe Rogan is Joe Rogan.
Joe
Go
Rogan,
talk to him.
exactly.
Yes. And then I need people that can go into uncomfortable spaces and defend the Democratic Party's position on things with clarity and with empathy, because they're not hearing that anywhere else. And if you get your news about Democrats from Republicans, you're not going to think very highly of the Democratic Party.
Exactly.
It's
It
a hard
allows
thing.
them to create, and I want to add one more thing, it allows them to create a caricature of what a Democrat is and what they believe in and who they are. And I think part of the reason that like I keep getting invited back on these right-wing TV shows is, one, I'm good TV, which they like. But 2, they don't see a lot of Democrats who talk like me. I talk like a Republican because Republicans generally talk like real people, more so than the Democratic Party right now. Now, I think the values of the Republican Party, the National Republican Party, are absurd. And the work that they're doing is hurting a lot of people. But we need more people that can talk like a regular. Can I curse on this show?
Definitely, yeah, you
I
can.
was making sure before I get you guys in trouble. I mean, it's called Brogressive. I feel like I should be able to curse on Brogressive, but we don't talk like fucking normal people. We just talk like fucking weirdos, and it's because we're so calibrated, and then we use words that people don't understand, and like Latinx is the perfect example of that. Like that's cooked up in some academia circle about the right way to categorize like all Latinos in a
Yep.
perfect way, and then you talk like that, and people are like, "The hell is Latinx? Like, why don't you just talk like a regular person? Like, be normal." Is something that Liz Smith shouts all the time on Twitter. Liz is another Democratic strategist like me. Like, just be normal. And we should elevate more normal candidates. They can just talk like regular people and are a lot closer to the issues that we're trying to solve.
It's funny that Beleh is the one that's getting on my ass about that. He's like, dude, we just gotta talk like normal people. And he's like, dude, stop with the academic jargon. And I'm like, motherfucker,
I'll go
I'm
after
sorry.
them. I'll send tweets on like, this is why we lose, guys. Like, I'm being half serious, but I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, please just use the word homeless. We don't need to go out there and say unhoused. Like,
I
holy
hate the phrase
fuck.
more than anything. Look, there are some
Oh my
words that need to be
God.
retired. I recognize that because their origins are bad. Unhoused means the same goddamn thing as homeless.
Bro,
It's
it's
not even
so
a better
bad.
word. That's what upsets me about it. And the other thing is like, look, there's a lot of homeless people in Chicago. I can't imagine that any of them care whether or not they're called homeless or
No.
unhoused. But they would like to know where their next meal is coming from. And they would
Exactly.
like to know where they're going to sleep tonight. And I'd like to be able to solve that problem. And recalibrating the language doesn't solve that. And it doesn't mean that the people trying to change the language are bad people. Their intentions are good. But I need more solutions to actual problems, not shit that we've like created for ourselves.
I think that's a big problem Democrats have, where we kind of focus a little too much on jargon and like, okay, are we being politically correct here? Are we lining up with like what the like people in academia are saying? And then people just want to hear solutions. They just want to hear solutions that actually affect them. So I was saying like, the Republicans had Project 2025 and Trump, horrible policy, but at least people knew, some of the things he stood for, no tax on tips. So I thought maybe Kamala Harris should have come out with like 5 concrete policies, put them on a big ass bulletin, go to a rally, present them, or have like a televised speech, and one of them could be like universal childcare, free meals for children in school. Like that's something that doesn't cost that much money at all, but it would feel widespread. And then parents are like, oh fuck, I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. and worry about what I'm going to make my child. The government just going to provide them a meal, and she could point to all these states that do it. So like having these concrete policies, like build more houses. You don't have to go into depth about how you build more homes. Like me and Max agree with, cutting regulation where it doesn't make sense, making sure that environmental laws don't actually conflict with environmental projects that we're trying to build here in California. That's why Texas is beating our ass when it comes to solar. So I think having those broad, universal programs that we talk about, leaving the details for later, I think that's how we should approach politics and policy.
That's right. And I'll frame it to you this way: is like the Democratic Party loves to do this. By the way, Kamala Harris had 5 concrete policies that she ran on
She
that were
did.
successful.
That's true.
I want to be clear about that. But the way they were packaged was poor. Because what the Democratic Party does is we go, let me tell you about the blah, blah, blah act. And the blah, blah, blah act does X, Y, and Z. And what you need to do is if you file Form 57C with the IRS on this specific date with this specific colored envelope, you will get a $47 tax rebate. And people are like, that sucks. It's not enough impact. And I don't remember anything that you said. And Donald Trump goes, build the wall, drain the swamp, no tax on tips. Much better. And you know who's good at that on our side? Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is amazing at that. Medicare for all, free college. Like that is a better place to be in. And I think you can do that. You don't have to go full Zoran Mandani. And I like Zoran Mandani. I'm not one of those Democrats that complains about him, but like, he has that freeze the rent ad that he ran in the campaign, which I thought was really smart and well calibrated. I don't know how successful that policy will be when he tries to implement. That's a different conversation, but the ad was successful. So what is the mainstream Democratic Party's version of freeze the rent? And if they can't articulate that, then we're going to keep getting our asses kicked in national elections.
It's like it's using. It's funny you keep saying this because Blaine and I argue about this all the time. It's like politics versus policy. Or some people are like, oh well, good policy is good politics and whatever, and vice versa. But like blending the communicative aspect of like, oh, we're gonna build more homes instead of boring the shit out of them with, oh, we're gonna reform CEQA and we're gonna do all these zoning reforms, which I love. That shit's awesome to me. Everybody else in my family included are falling asleep, but getting that simple message out, just fuck it, we're freezing the rent, and we're gonna. You don't even gotta explain how you're gonna do it. Just freezing the rent, and then you can go do all the boring zoning stuff behind closed doors.
Well, can I also say that a lot of Democratic policy that's put together by think tanks in Washington is bad. I would like to get that out there. And I think like basic immediate assistance to help people's lives. 80% of Americans are struggling to put food on the table, buy a house, start a family, retire with dignity. And so if you're not making an immediate impact on people's lives and solving the actual problem that people are facing, you are doomed to electoral disaster. And I'll give you an example. So in Trump's budget, they passed these baby bonds or whatever, however they're packaging them. I think they're calling them something else. But baby bonds is originally a Democratic Party idea where it was like, we would give you $3,000 every time you have a kid to help you get started, and you could then invest that in the future of the kid to help pay for college. It's not a terrible idea, but it is not a good idea because it's not solving the two real problems that people having kids are facing right now. One, if you have a kid and they go to college for 4 years and get a master's, they're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, which is a terrible drag on their ability to start their lives, to start a business and be an entrepreneur, to buy a house and start a family, things that we need people to do. So it doesn't solve that core problem. And then on top of that, the way that most people are going to use that money is they're going to use it to buy the things they need to take care of a kid. I have a 6-year-old boy at home. Childcare before he started going to public school was insanely expensive. It was ridiculous. I think I was paying like $25,000 a year. Now, I'm doing really well in my life. I've got a couple of successful businesses. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a decent investor. So like I can afford to do that. That's a privilege that I have. But if I'm given $3,000 and let's say it creates the effect that, JD Vance talks about this all the time, we need to be having more babies. If we have more babies, but we don't build the public infrastructure to support them and solve the childcare crisis in this country, then what we're going to have is more people on welfare. And we're going to have more people on food stamps. We're going to have more people on SNAP. We're going to have more people using free school lunches, which again is fine. I support all of those programs. But again, I want public policy that gets people off of those programs so that they have good wages and good jobs, that they can afford childcare, that they can afford healthcare. And the Republican Party isn't speaking to any of those challenges. They're creating more problems. And the Democratic Party is putting patches into a dam that's like flooding all the time. And so people are like, I don't believe in either party, so I'm just going to go off vibes right now. Or
The
I'm going to
vibe election.
it was a little bit of a vibe election,
Yeah.
but like, I think when we talk about the vibe election, what we miss is that like nobody likes the Democratic Party. Nobody likes the Republican Party. Let's be clear about that. Like a lot is said about the Democratic Party's approval rating. When I see it in like higher quality polling than what you see, it's like 32%.
Close. Yeah, the
32%,
GOP and
and then
Dems are pretty
Republicans
close.
are like at 41. And I'm like, okay, it's 9% difference. Don't get me wrong. That's about base consolidation. But ultimately, people are willing to take risks because nothing that either party is offering is working. Electing Donald Trump in 16 and in 24 is a desperate cry for help from tens of millions of Americans who are struggling. Electing Zohran Mamdani in New York City, which is what they're going to do, is a cry for help. Because if an establishment politician like Andrew Cuomo or one of the other options in the race had solutions that were going to help people, then they would have won. But Zohran had better, more interesting policies, and people are going, I'll take the risk on the Democratic Socialists, even though I've never seen what one will do before, but you're not doing anything for me. And the problem is the establishment doesn't have enough to like look in the mirror and go, am I the problem? Now, the kids are wrong. It's not me, and it's stupid. It's why Cuomo's running in the general and he has nothing to offer other than the most vapid internet videos I've ever seen in my life. They're embarrassing, by the way.
Well, you can go.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think a big part of our problem is that we just have these like. I was going to ask you about a specific issue that polls extremely well, like raising taxes on the rich and closing loopholes. For some reason, I just feel like Democrats just don't talk about that enough. Is that just me, or like I just don't see that I see them talk about it. Like Biden would bring it up and he'd be like, we need to close loopholes, and but that might be just an inability to really communicate. Why don't we talk about that one specific issue that literally polls at I think net like 60 points? That means like 40% of Republicans are in favor of it.
I think we talk about it all the time. I think what we don't do is connect it to how it's going to help people. Because, like, I don't care if you raise taxes for the rich. If it isn't coming back to me, why do I care about that? So it's got to be like, I'm going to raise taxes and then I'm going to do these 3 things with it. And here's what it's going to look like. And the problem is, and I think the Republican Party is also like this on a ton of issues. There's a million things we've said before that people just don't trust us anymore. Oh, when we get elected, we're going to make sure that everybody has access to quality and affordable healthcare. What does that mean in 2024? After passing Obamacare, after multiple times with the Democrats having a trifecta, not making sure that every American has health care. I can understand being a regular person sitting at home going, I don't trust that the Democratic Party is going to get anything done. And I don't know who they're fighting for, but I know it's not me. And all the focus group information that I've ever seen and all the polling information bears out that people don't believe that we can get anything done. They don't know what we stand for. They don't know who we're fighting for, but they believe it's not them. And that is a massive.
Well, so I mean, with that, it's like, okay, well, then what would be your solution? Like, is it, do we go in and kind of pull like a Trump, just fuck it, we're going to break some rules, we're going to, what is it, play fast and loose with the rules, something like that? I mean, just go in and really make something to change? Because I don't know. I feel like it's like a chicken and the egg thing where it's like you do too much, people don't like what you're doing, or we don't communicate it well, and it's like there's something that's going to come in and gum it up. So do we come in and make some real big flashy change, or like I don't know. I'm at a loss.
Yeah. I think we need to offer some big solutions, and we need to make sure that people know that we're going to help them, and we need to have a communicator in place who can go out and sell it. And I think it's important that in this presidential election, when the Democrats pick a nominee, that we do not elect a technocrat. And if we elect a technocrat that just goes in and rebuilds everything that Donald Trump is destroying right now, we will get killed 4 years after that, and we will probably elect an autocrat who's way worse than Donald Trump. If we elect somebody like FDR or Teddy Roosevelt that understands I have an enormous amount of power and I'm going to use that power aggressively to help people and make this country better and improve your life, then we're going to be okay because they can go out and sell it and then we can do it. The problem is there can't be half measures in that. And when I'm online and people are like, we have to get rid of the filibuster, we have to stack the Supreme Court, we have to do this and that, I lean towards doing those things. I do. I want maybe to spend a little bit more time thinking through the consequences of that. But I think that that's step one in like a 400-step plan of what needs to happen in a 4-year presidential term. Because if you stack the Supreme Court and get rid of the filibuster and we lose 4 years later, now we've gone even further down the Overton window on what you can do with the federal government. But the opportunity that we have here is that whether they mean to or not, or whether they've thought through the consequences or not, they have empowered the executive more than the executive has ever been empowered in this country. And if I were the Democrats in an 8-year period, I would use that as aggressively as I can to get Medicare for all. Because if we get into power and tinker with the Affordable Care Act, we're going to look like idiots.
I agree on some level. I think the issue we kind of always encounter is that, like, when Bernie was trying to sell Medicare for all, there was a little bit of a hesitation when he would speak about, like, okay, so everyone's taxes are gonna go up. So I've seen like different polling on this, and I've talked to different people, and people are like, I like the idea of Medicare for all. I just don't know how practical it is. So what if Democrats had introduced like a public option that's more, I think, more comprehensive, and it's like, hey, you can get this public option, you can leave your private insurance and maybe expand Medicaid and do, like, when we talk about immediate things, I think if you want to go in there and enact immediate change, fuck it. One day we pass a bill expanding Medicaid in all the states that haven't expanded it yet, and it's automatically, everyone's enrolled automatically. Like, for the people that are eligible, we don't know, there's no like, oh, you have to file an application. No, we have your tax returns. We can see how much money you make. If you are under a certain threshold, you get Medicaid like that, even if you're in a red state that prohibits it. That's like step one, immediate change. Number two, public option. Starting this year, you can buy into this public option a lot cheaper than the private health insurance plans, creates competition. I think those are two things that I've been advocating for on the healthcare side that are like quick, I think, not easy fixes, but immediate fixes. Whereas Medicare for all, I think, takes a lot of time, and we're talking about like delays in time, and you would really need, like, right now, how many senators do we really have that are for that? I think if we want to get shit done quickly, I would do the Medicaid enrollment thing right away for the red states that haven't enrolled in there. Public option right away. Let's, like, fuck this 2-year thing where like Biden would be like, oh, in 2 years, seniors are gonna feel the Inflation Reduction Act. They're gonna see that the prescription drugs, 15 prescription drugs have gone down. First of all, 15 prescription drugs, I mean, that's better than nothing. But come on, man, like, you're means testing again. And then why do we have to wait 2 years? Like, what is this? Like, I think Democrats are kind of just obsessed with, when they get in power, they're obsessed with bureaucracy and they're obsessed with rules and regulations, which, look, I'm all for rules and regulations that make sense, but rules and regulations that hinder like actual economic empowerment of people, hinder green energy projects like Max and I have seen here in California, hinder people actually being able to sign up for healthcare quicker and faster and cheaper. I think that's something that we also need to push back against. So what do you think of that?
Well, I hate rules. I hate regulations. I've hated rules since I was a kid. I cheated at every board game I ever played when I was a kid. Don't tell my parents. But like, I'm an elected official in the city of Chicago. I serve on the school council down the street, and the number of times I run into the dumbest fucking rules about what I can or cannot do as the community's elected rep really drive me crazy. And just, I'll give you like a couple of quick examples. Like, one, there's a sensory room in this school with that kids can't use because there's shelving in there that has to be drilled into the wall. Now, I recognize that I am not a professional, but I know how to use a fucking drill, and I can drill that in. But they're like, well, we can't get an engineer out for like 2 to 3 months. And I'm like, so for 2 to 3 months, these kids don't have access to a sensory room. And like my son is at a different school. He's at a public school. But there's a lottery in Chicago. So you can we got into like a really good school. So we sent him to that one. That's like a couple further blocks down. But then this other one like needs more people like me to get involved to help these kids because they're getting kind of boned in my opinion. But like I can't go in and install that, but like it's going to take so long to do it. So it's an example of the bureaucracy. There's a whole issue with like the roof that's taken like almost a decade to fix with water damage and stuff that I think is putting kids in danger. And then the bureaucracy to get the capitalized expenditures to be able to fix it is ridiculous. And meanwhile, the kids are suffering and they're not getting the education that they want. And I don't think the district is showing any interest in trying to solve this. So like, then if you say that publicly, like I'll get, maybe not right now on this podcast, but if I say like on my Twitter account, somebody will be like, oh, so you hate teachers? Oh, so you don't believe in unions? And I'm like, no, I just believe in getting shit done. I love unions. Unions are great. I love teachers. Most of my friends are actually, I married a teacher. My wife's a teacher. But like, I got to get shit done for these kids. I got to get shit done for regular people. And so Democrats have to get beyond creating more rules, creating more bureaucracy.
I think Mike, you bring up a great point. I think if we're going to introduce more broad-based government programs, we have to first show the American people that the government can work, that the government can be effective. And I think right now, trust in the government actually being able to get shit done is low, but appetite for the government to get shit done is high. So I like CNN had a poll with like 62% of Americans were like, they said they wanted a more active government in their lives. Me, which like that was, take that as you want, but that also means that if they want a more active government in their lives, that means that the government's ineffective right now. So there's those two things that kind of clash with each other, in my opinion. You kind of have to show the American people that we won't be this slow government that enacts change super slow, and there's all these rules. We can actually get shit done on day one. So that goes back to your point of like, hey, we don't have to break the rules, but use the rules for our advantage. Use the rules for the American people's advantage. Like in the ACA, there's a provision in there when there's like a natural disaster or something that occurs, we can actually give people Medicaid. People don't know that. So Obama used that a couple times. I thought Biden should have used that more. Like I thought he should have used that more in some hurricanes and natural disasters. So using the power of the government is good when it's good for people. I think when we have immediate help like that and actually show people the government can get done, then we can kind of gain their trust and do some more big government programs. That's kind of my thinking of it.
There's a lack of creativity, I think, from the Democratic Party about how we get stuff done. And we're stuck in a rut where we try to pass a piece of legislation on like gun violence to protect kids, right? And then we go, well, the Republicans are stopping it, haha. But like, I got to get some shit done. So like, we got to get creative about this. We can't stop leaning on the fact that the Republican Party has zero interest in solving anybody's problems other than Donald Trump's. So that's number one. So I have a client, Jocelyn Benson, who's the Secretary of State for the state of Michigan. She's great. She's very likely to be the state's next governor, I think. I really like it. One of the things that she says that I think is right along with your point is that the government shows up everywhere you don't want it and nowhere where you need it. And that's what bothers me, is that the government's in my way as an entrepreneur, letting me do and build the things that I want to do. The government's telling me what to do. And like, I always give this example, which is not about the United States, but when I was in Canada not too long ago, I tried to order a burger and I asked for it medium. And the guy was like, sorry, sir, legally, I cannot give you a medium burger. I have to give you a
wow.
And I was like, are you kidding me? It is not the government's job to tell me how I want my burger cooked. All right. Now, I understand a medium burger is not as safe as a well-done cooked burger. I get that, but it's so much better tasting and I get to decide those things. And so I always talk about it also in the context of like what I want the government to do and what I don't want the government to do. And I want the government to largely leave people alone to live their lives so long as it doesn't have an impact on other people around them. So a smoking ban in a restaurant makes a lot of sense to me because you can get cancer from secondhand smoke. A soda ban, which a lot of liberal cities love to try to be like, you can't have a 70-ounce Coca-Cola. Like, I believe it's my God-given right as an American to get a soda however large I want it to be and let the free market decide whether it's too much. Anytime I'm on a road trip and I stop at Wendy's, I'm always like, give me the small because I know the small is like the size of my son. And it's ridiculous, but that's my choice of what I put in my body. Now, I think if the government wants to do a better job of regulating cancer-causing chemicals, up to and by the way, including added sugar in our food, that's worth doing because it's keeping people safe. And so there's just a line there. But what I don't want the government doing is telling women what to do with their bodies, telling men what they can watch online, because the same people that want to ban abortion, that have banned abortion in a lot of states, want to ban pornography. I don't think they should be telling people who they can or cannot marry. My wife and I have our son because of IVF. There are a lot of people out there that want to ban IVF or severely restrict it. You shouldn't be telling people how to start a family and how many kids they can have. So the government's got to show up to help me, but it's really about helping me have a good paying job in a world where AI is going to crush the economy, making sure I can afford a house or get an apartment and be able to do that. And by the way, the locking out of so many young people's ability to buy a home locks out their ability to build equity too, which then impacts them further down the line because then they spend 15 years in an apartment. They have no equity to show for it. So now you're suddenly 35, 40 and you don't have any net worth. And that's a problem because if you want to start a business, you need to be able to borrow against something and show people that you've been able to accomplish something. So it makes it harder for people to rise up. And that's the sort of insidiousness, that's the right word? Yeah. Of this moment of America is that the American dream is kind of slowly dying. Maybe not even slowly, it's dying. Your ability to rise up in a way that my grandparents 100 years ago, or my great grandparents came here from Ireland and Italy. My grandfather got a good job at the post office, became the postmaster general for Lackawanna County in Scranton, Pennsylvania. My dad became an FBI agent and rose a little bit further up in America. Now I'm doing even better than my dad, and my brothers are doing better than my dad too. So like that upward trajectory, I don't know if my son will do better than me. I'm not confident in that. And when I do my financial planning now, and I think through the future of how much money I need to make to get to my FU number so I can retire someday, is do I need to have money to support my kid? Because when I started out, I thought I need enough money to make sure that my kid can go through college and maybe not have student loan debt because I'm not confident we're going to solve that problem in my lifetime. But do I need to make sure he can have a house? Do I need to make sure that there's some kind of trust for him? Can I afford to have that kind of trust? I don't think that I can at the trajectory that I'm on. But now I think about those things, and that feels like it's not my job to think about. And I'm easily doing way better than the average American. I just am. And the average person can't even think about that stuff because they're working multiple jobs. They're lucky if they can drink a beer and watch Monday Night Football. So it's so fucked up and insidious the way that the system works now.
It's like that sense of urgency and like that planning, which I think it's the uncertainty and that feeling of like things are scary,
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean like, oh, by the way, no medium burger. You man, I want my medium rare burger.
right.
You ever go to the place and they're like, yeah, oh, we can't cook it there. I don't give a fuck. Like, dude, I'll eat moldy bread. Like, you think I give a shit about what, like if my burger's well done enough? It's a burger. It's gonna be
Right.
fine.
I don't want a nanny state government. I don't. And I think there are multiple people in my party that want a nanny state government. And I think those people are very, very silly. And I think the intersection of how you build a coalition that can win the future here is going to be this intersection of like personal freedoms and liberties. So it's very libertarian. Like if it were me, I would steer straight into like some libertarian tendencies that I think my party gets scared of. But the intersection of then economic populism. So it's like, we're going to use the government to improve your life and hold billionaires accountable and make sure that you're paid a living wage and make sure that you have access to healthcare and affordable housing. And other than that, we're going to leave you the fuck alone. And like, you want to go play poker online? Go play poker online. We're going to provide you with resources in case you get addicted to gambling, which is good. We should do those things, but you should be able to gamble online. You want to go watch porn? Great. We're going to make sure that porn is consensual and safe for everybody. Go watch as much porn as you want. It's your life. And I'm okay with that. And like, that, and I think it's a fun little horseshoe effect because there are certain elements of my party that are very anti-porn. And then just as to go on this rant of porn and gambling and crypto. And then there's certain elements of the right wing that are anti-porn and crypto. And they're like the same position on like opposite ends of the horseshoe. But largely we should just leave people alone to live their lives. And I think that has always been central to what America should be, a place where you can go live your life and do what you want. And just to tag back in the 90s, who were the biggest voices fighting against video games and telling you that like video games were going to like create a generation of like violent Americans? Like, it was like Hillary Clinton. And I love Hillary Clinton, to be clear, but like Hillary Clinton and Tipper Gore were all about that in the 90s. I remember it as a kid being like, I don't feel more violent because I'm playing Mortal Kombat. I'm just having fun with my friends. And or like the 80s scares for Dungeons and Dragons, where Dungeons and Dragons is going to create like a generation of demonic teenagers. Like that didn't happen. We just got goths and they were weird, you know, and I apologize if you were goth, but like, I should say weird, you know what? I don't even want to say weird because like you can live your best life and be fun and nobody should make fun of you.
You ever see Medigoth? Like, I feel like they're always actually very pleasant and very nice to be
Yes,
around.
they're actually very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. My favorite pro wrestler is Rhea Ripley. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but she's like big goth. It's like her whole character. I love her. My son watches it with me and he calls her Spooky Girl because he can't remember her name. And I think I'm like, that's a better name than what her name actually is.
So we should just be a pro gambling and pro gooning party. I fucking love it. Like, you know what? Just
Again, tackle the exploitation because there is a lot of exploitation with casinos. There's a lot of exploitation with these, you know, with DraftKings and stuff like that. So I'm all for better regulating it so that people are safe and better educating people who get addicted to gambling and making sure that they have the resources that they need. Same thing we should do for an alcoholic who needs support. Same thing we should do with food addiction. Like I struggle with food addiction my entire life. There's not a lot of resources for people to understand how the food we're eating makes us addicted to it. You know, RFK Jr. is a nut job, but like the bottom 30% of things that he says are right. about health and food and what's being put into our bodies. And so we should provide people with that. But ultimately, it's their choice what they want to put into their body. And what we just need to make sure is that the rules that we allow for the companies to create stuff doesn't have like cancer causing things, and it doesn't have like anxiety causing things. And I don't think we talk enough about how the things that are in our food are causing us to have more mental health issues, which is a huge problem. And then in the same way, like fostering and protecting ways for people to be active outside. So talking about after school programs for kids and making sure that kids can be outside having fun with their friends, making sure that we have, there's a huge problem and a lack of connection, particularly amongst men. So men are lonely and isolated. They report this themselves. And part of the problem is like, if you have money, you can afford to join a pickleball club. But if you don't have money, you might not be able to have access to do anything unless you're lucky enough to have a good group of friends. So people turn to video games and they turn to social media, and that's not real connection. So the government should be fostering ways for people to go outside and have fun with their friends. Chicago has right off the lake a beautiful, actually, it's kind of a dump, and I love it because it's kind of a dump, but like it's right off the lake and it's a driving range, and it's $8 for a bucket of 100 balls. And the city subsidizes that. I guarantee you they lose money on it. If they ever try to close it, I will chain myself to the front of it because we need more stuff like that in our society. I want the city of Chicago to create a pickleball court for people to go. And I think we should be investing in that kind of stuff too. So you can go out and enjoy your friends, whether you're a millionaire or you make 50. Like it shouldn't be that money locks you out of your ability to spend time with your friends doing fun and interesting things.
So what are your thoughts on like publicly subsidizing some spike ball nets? I'm a big spike ball guy. I think it's great. You and your boys, you go out. You ever played spike ball?
I have no idea what spike ball is.
Dude, it's like the greatest sport imaginable. So it's like a
How old are you,
volleyball net.
I need to know this. I got to have a frame of reference for how.
I haven't even
22?
22. I'm 21.
22 next week, right, Max?
Yeah, yeah.
The spike ball is a game
All
that
right,
the
explain spike ball to
youngins
me.
play.
I just want you guys to know that like I started working in politics when I was like 17, and I was protesting the Iraq War before that, and I used to be the young kid in the room, and now I'm fucking old, and you're telling me about a sport I've never heard of. So keep going.
So it's like volleyball, right? There's like this like little net, right, in the corner, and so you and like two other guys or like girls or whatever, right? And you play. It's like volleyball, right? So you'll hit it up, you like volley it, and then you spike it as hard as you can, and it's fucking fantastic because like if you get really good at it, you can like do like between the leg ones, and you can like spike it, and like people like running like all the way down the field to like hit it back to you. It's oh yeah,
Here,
there we go.
can you see it?
Yeah.
I've seen this. Okay.
Uh,
Yes, I've seen this.
oh, dude, this was like my shit in college. Like me and my like roommates and stuff, we'd go and play for like. It got to the point where like we joined the club. We were gonna go like and do tournaments, and I was like, dude, this is what could heal America. This is
feels
you know,
like
racial divides.
this feels like the Zoomer version of hacky sack to me. I love this for you. I think it's great. I would play this. I think it's great.
No, but we see your point. I mean, it's like that community organizational things where like you're meeting with people again, you're going out in public. Like I think a lot of, and very sadly, I think a lot about our generation who are just sitting at home on TikTok. They're not actually talking to
So
people. And like,
young men, Max. I think that's an epidemic
yeah,
that young men are feeling a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, only one out of every 7 young men report having a close friend that they could talk to about a personal issue.
Wow. Holy
Jesus.
shit.
It's insane.
I
Wow.
believe
And then
that.
on
I mean,
top
yeah.
of that, economically, they're getting killed. So they're twice as less likely to be able to buy a house, twice as less likely to be able to go to college than women. So women are outpacing men for the first time. Right now, men under 30, first generation of men that are ever going to make less than women of the same age. And the way that is going to f them up psychologically and in society is like we haven't fully rooted into that. By the way, we shouldn't do anything to get in the way of women who are kicking young men's ass right now. That's actually amazing. But if men fall too far behind, then they're going to get disaffected. And this is a Scott Galloway quote, so I don't want to take credit for it. But if they get disaffected, they're going to affect a lot of women. And young men who are disaffected tend to be pretty violent, especially when they're listening to ass clowns like Andrew Tate.
You know, it's funny that you say that with the disaffected, like the falling behind young women. I was thinking a lot about there's a Noah Smith article where it's like as the demographics of the United States change, like white people will become minorities and like men are now being like out earned by women. It's like essentially they're achieving this minority status, but like we still haven't wrapped our head around like, okay, well, wait a minute. We can help them now that they're falling behind. Like, that doesn't mean we go into like the JD Vance, like, oh, we should make women, you know, go back to like 1930s. Like, no, that's not happening. We're not doing that. But we can help the young men get back on track and try to at least keep it fair. You know, it always should have been fair. And it doesn't mean we just abandon you, like, oh, too bad, so sad, like, sucks. You know, like, that's not.
I don't think it's that it's unfair to men. It's that the issues of our time right now on those particular issues are disproportionately affecting and holding men behind. And then the loudest voices that they're listening to are guys like Andrew Tate. And part of that is that in the last decade, there was a well-intentioned attempt by white liberal men like me to kind of take a step back and let women and people of color have their say and their time. And I don't think that that was necessarily wrong, but it should have been that we should have also been there cheering them on and talking to people who look like us, because it's hard to be something you don't see or hear from regularly. And then Donald Trump and Andrew Tate and Elon Musk and all these other, I frankly think they're all cucks. Like they stepped into this void and they told you a man's place is to take what he wants and to be violent and mean about it. And women are the source of all of your problems. And you deserve a mate who's subservient to you and all this shit. And like, I don't have a problem if somebody wants to be a trad wife, if that's the relationship you want to have, so long as it's consensual. I don't care. That's the idea of my wife being a trad wife is really weird to me, because like my wife would probably kick my ass before if I ever brought anything like that up. But like, and I like her that way, by the way. Like, I think my wife more than anybody else in my life keeps me in check. But I recognize that there are different people who want different things, but we shouldn't have all the voices in the space be guys like Andrew Tate who are predatory and violent towards women.
And that's our fault though, because I mean, you've been doing your best and you've been trying, but I think we need to amplify more voices like yours
I
to kind
haven't
of
been
get in
trying.
that space.
I see, Blake. I don't train. I'm 1 year into being a public figure, which I feels weird to say. I
Like
only
most
launched
people
my
though.
Substack 2 months ago. Like, I got pulled out of the shadows by a series of like conspiracy theories that Laura Loomer started by me, and then I kind of went. I had this,
Wait,
like,
can we hear these? Wait, can we
we can
hear
talk
these?
about that in a second if you'd like. But like, I got pulled out of being like an anonymous figure into being a public figure, and then kind of went, fuck it. Well, if this is going to happen anyway, then I'm going to do it right. And then a light bulb clicked on to be like, all right, I see what's wrong here, and maybe I can be one of the people to kind of help with it. And I don't know, but I'm in one of those Democratic Party incubators trying to find the next Joe Rogan, and I laugh about it all the time because I'm like, I'm not Joe Rogan. Like, I don't want to be Joe Rogan. But it's funny, we need more people to step out and do it. But Blake, we haven't been trying. That's the problem. And a year, like Joe Rogan's on year 14 of the Rogan experience. I listened to Joe Rogan 10 years ago. He was much less crazy then. But like, we'll see where we are in 10 years. Maybe I stick around,
Yeah.
maybe I don't. Maybe I break through, maybe I don't. I don't know. And I'm not going to pretend. I'm perfectly okay to go back to not having, I'd be happy to never look at Twitter again.
No, you're
now,
like a
a
great communicator. We need you out there on like every single show. I mean, being on Piers Morgan, I think people undercount. He gets so many views on YouTube, and I watch Piers Morgan. I just watch him for like because the panel's so funny sometimes. My God, the panel that he puts together.
I like the show.
It's a good show. It's a great show.
The challenge is that, so I've done it, I don't know, like 5 times. The first time they brought me on for Piers Morgan, I love this because I just think it's funny. It was 2 conservatives and then like kind of like a very effete liberal, just like your typical, like the way they want to present us, right?
Yeah.
And then me, who talks like a regular person. And so like I spent more time being like the liberal drives me crazy than like the conservatives did, because I was that guy, you know how you like, you kind of you're angry at your brother than you are at your friend. Like, it was sort of like that. And then the next time I did it, it was 3 conservatives and me. And then every other time it's 3 conservatives and me. So they don't even bother with the other liberal. They just stack everything with me. And my biggest ally is always Piers Morgan. Like, it's always Piers Morgan coming in, because Piers, listen, something that people don't understand. It's the same thing with Rogan. Piers is aggressively anti-woke, whatever the fuck that means.
Yes.
Piers on issues like immigration, generally with us, on issues like how we use the government, generally with us. So I'll get my backup from him. So the way that they construct the show now is like bringing on like 3 people they know that I can't fucking stand. Last time I did it, it was like me, Dinesh D'Souza, some Twitch streamer I'd never heard of before, and the Pizzagate guy. And
God.
I was frothing at the mouth to be on that show. And I missed one a few weeks ago that I couldn't do because I was traveling with my family, and it was when the Biden book was out, and the panel was going to be me, Lindy Lee, and like I forget who the other 2 were, like, and it was like Lindy Lee, Charlie Kirk, and like some other asshole. And I was like, saw it later, and I was pissed that I wasn't on this panel.
I would actually like demand him to do that panel again if I missed it. Holy
I kind of want to
fuck.
be like, I'll come back on, but only if you reconstruct.
Please. Oh wow. No, because
Lindy Lee. I called Charlie Kirk a little bitch on Twitter this week, and one of his minions responded to me by saying, "You're a pathological liar," and I wrote back, "No, it's true. Charlie Kirk really is a little bitch."
Little bitch. Okay, so I commented under Benny Johnson. I used the word that maybe we shouldn't use too much, and it has like over 1,500 likes right now. I called him a retard because like he was trying to misinterpret something. Me and Max are like on the autism spectrum, so I think it's fine for us to say that. But
I'm good with it. That awesome.
Yeah, we have we're the okay, but
I got yelled at because I was talking about Italians. I'm half Italian. I said Dago and Gooba on a call on one of my lives, and somebody was like, you can't say that, and I was like, no, I get to say it because it's me, you know.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like,
Very
I'm, you know,
common term when I'm home with my family.
and we got like, we got no pushback on that comment. Like, it's one of the top comments under Benny Johnson's thing. I'm like, you just are though. Like, I'm sorry, you're so dumbass. It's like those short replies. It's like, no, he's a little bitch. Like, he just is. You don't have to refute the point. Like, you just bring it
Yeah.
up again.
Do you know that I would brag about this because not enough people know. I had the biggest tweet in America on Tuesday, apparently, according to social listening stats, which is Nancy Mace tweeted that all child rapists should be sent to prison, which is true, they should be. But she did it like 5 minutes after she voted to conceal the
Yes,
Epstein files.
yes.
And so I quote tweeted it and I just said, 5 minutes ago, you voted to conceal the Epstein files. And I went, like, I didn't look at it for like 5 hours and came back and it had like 100,000 likes. And
I think
it
I saw it. Yeah.
got to like 350,000 likes. I've never had a tweet blow up that big. It was something
Holy shit.
like 57 million times or something. It was big, and it got community noted, which made it even funnier. So I sent it to my wife, and I said, "This better make it into my obit. Like when I die, I want somebody to read this out." And I hope that everybody goes, "Who the fuck is Nancy Mace?"
She's the lady who loves beans. Like,
Yeah, she
that's
loves
that's her.
being.
She loves beans, Max. Just know that.
Can I just have
Well,
her on that? I actually don't think that was that much beats. Like I really
No, it was like one tray, but it was so. It was
one
like
tray
Kyle
of beans.
Kalinske. It was Kyle Kalinske from Secular Talk. We'd love to have on the show. Love you, Kyle. But he like tweeted, "That's a lot of beans, you nasty bitch." And that shit got like hundreds of thousands of likes. And the Democrats like official Twitter page quote retweeted her saying, "Don't you have like some beans to go eat?"
You know that my favorite tweet that the DNC sent out was some reaction to Ted Cruz that reminded everybody. I think it was Ted Cruz like signed on to an anti-porn bill, and so they posted a photo of the porn star. What is her name? Something Chase, or Tori Chase, or something like that. I forget what her name is. And then, which is like her like lowering her glasses a little bit, and I quote tweeted it, and then I said something like, "We have to teach the classics. Young kids they don't understand how good
Yeet.
the tweet is." And then my tweet outperformed the DNC's tweet, and now my tweet hangs in the DNC office for outperforming their very good tweet.
That's so funny.
It's so
No, but
dumb.
that's like
By the way, the DNC social team doing incredible work, not getting it.
amazing.
They're
Holy shit, dude. Amazing work. Like,
unhinged
I have
shit over
friends
there.
that will send me normie like friends who don't really they're not in tune with politics. They send me their tweets and then their Instagram posts and their TikToks. They had like a TikTok about basically like the big beautiful bill adding more taxes on your parlay. Like when you do a little parlay for like whatever, like you bet on a couple NFL games, whoever's gonna win, and now you have to pay like taxes on that or an increased number of taxes. And my friend sent it to me, and I was like, oh, that's so funny. Like their strategy has been great. And there's some people that are criticizing them. They're like, you're just like too online. I'm like, that's what the fuck you're supposed to be. When you're a Twitter account, you're supposed to be quote unquote too online. Like everybody's online nowadays. So that term too online, like, yeah, if you're going out there and giving a speech and you're bringing up like Nancy Mace's beans, the amount of beans she eats all the time, that's being too online. When you're shit posting on Twitter, that's being online. So you should be too online.
What's your target audience and what's your goal? So like for the
Exactly.
DNC, they are one setting the tone for the rest of the Democratic Party, which is a big thing the DNC does that's important. And I find their Twitter account to be fucking hilarious. And I
Hilarious.
need that sometimes when I'm feeling a lack of creativity. But then two, their job is to communicate with their target audience. And on Twitter, their target audience is reporters, is people like me, it's people like you guys, and it's regular people who are very online that then go out and have conversations with their friends. Because what happens is you get a funny meme, you show it to 20 of your friends, 19 of which don't look at Twitter the way that you and I do.
Exactly.
And that seeps into the consciousness. Trump is also very good at that. But
Amazing.
I tell you, the White House social media is unhinged and
Yeah.
weird and a bad
Weird.
strategy.
They were doing like the you know like how Max we have that joke about the girls who type in all lowercase or have like the nail emoji thing. They like just tweet random shit, and I have like one of my conservative friends is like, bro, why does our White House account look like your guys' like Democrat account from like 3 years ago? And I was like, wait, it's like, oh, he ate, like they had a tweet about Trump like, oh, this policy ate. And I'm like, it's like those like little niche things that we used to like do that are a little maybe sided towards one gender more than the other that now like the White House Trump account is doing. And then my friend's like, this is stupid. Did we switch sides?
What I like about it though is like, okay, people are less afraid to fuck up or they're less afraid to get
Yes.
yelled at. And that's good. And
Yeah.
I feel that too. Although I almost got canceled a couple weeks ago when the day that Elon Musk and Donald Trump were fighting, I did an emergency live on Substack. And I titled it Emergency Live, The Girls Are Fighting, parentheses, Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And there were so many people that were commenting in the thread being like, this meme is offensive to women. And
Oh
like,
my
I want you to
God.
think I'm like,
My God.
this is a very common internet meme. It's a very
Oh
common
my
internet
god.
meme. Like it's used all the time. AOC said it, not but like an hour after I posted it, and I was like,
Use those, but like those people are like the 5%, the less than 5% in the base that just fuck our shit up, and their like voices are like they're loud online. They're getting less loud online if you're noticing. They're getting less
if
loud
you if
online,
you
but they're
don't
loud
give them
online.
oxygen, they'll move on to other stuff. I
Exactly.
am
Just like be like, just
uncancelable.
reply like I don't give a fuck. I don't know. Be
Right.
like I don't care.
I tell people like because I get other strategists at my level that are like because I'm one of the differences between me is like there's democratic strategists out there and one thing I hate is like turning on the TV and so's on TV and I've never heard of them. I don't know anything they've ever done and they clearly don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. And there's a lot of people like that. The difference with me is and there's a couple others like me that are out there doing it like Chuck Roach is out there. But like I'm doing the content creation and having conversations with people and going on TV. And I have a day job where I'm actually doing this on a bunch of races. And that gives me a better perspective. And what pisses me off is when there's people that aren't doing it. And we need more people to kind of step out of it. But I have so many of my colleagues are like, Mike, aren't you worried about getting canceled and losing all your business and shit like that? And I'm like, no, because one, I'm uncancelable because I have a good enough head on my shoulders to not say something really stupid because I don't believe anything really stupid. And I'm not playing a character. Like this is who I am. If you turn this camera off and you three of us were just sitting in a bar talking, this would be probably the same fucking conversation. And when I fuck up, I know how to handle the fuck up. So if I say something that's wrong about a community or I use the wrong word or I maybe take something a little bit too far, I'll be able to go, all right, I'm sorry I fucked up. Can you explain that to me? I want to understand it a little bit better and not go do what a lot of people do in like cancel culture situations, which is to be like, this cancel culture is killing me and you people are ruining fun and comedy is dead and that kill Tony shit that I don't really find very funny. So I think there's a balance to it.
I agree. I agree. I agree with that fully.
You know, it's funny because like I always think about like getting canceled, and I'm like, I feel like that was like a uniquely like 2020 thing that just kind of
Yeah.
permeated. I mean, it makes sense. You know, everybody's locked in at home. I remember like my brother, like, and like he was, you know, him and I were like locked in the house, but and, like for context, I'm Jewish, right? I love making fun of our Jewish relatives. I love making fun of because like we go to like the family things. They do is complain, and like we're like a living Jewish stereotype. And I said something. He's like, Max, that's not funny. I'm like, Zach, we are Jewish. We are the joke. And I was like, dude, there's no way. Like, insane the amount of policing we did over a lot of times very asinine things, but further to your point, Mike, it's there's a huge difference between like making a joke with your buddies and like maybe across line you're like, oh shit, like I didn't know, I'm sorry, versus like well like fully intent like to hurt someone's feelings or go out of your way to hurt them. Like you know, again, Blaine and I will make fun of each other. That's what friends do. That's so different than like going out of your way to be a hateful, mean person.
Yeah, it's like being a genuine like dick. Like there's a difference between a genuine dick and just like fucking around with your friends. And I think a part of the reason why Gen Z did move to the right is because Max, we grew up, and Mike, you're still a pretty young person, but I'm using we as
And I'm not
Matt.
40 yet. I'm only 37, so
See,
I'll take it.
you can run for a president now, dude. Fuck that. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah, there you go.
Mike Nellis.
Oh,
We grew up. We grew
I've
up in
seen
a
what it
time
does
where
to
like,
people. That's not what Barack Obama looked like when he left office.
okay, you can go to Turkey now and get like a hair transplant and get
True.
do
I don't
some
need a hair.
hair
I don't need a
dye.
hair, man.
No, yours is perfect. It's amazing. We might need one soon. So yeah, Max and I, like, we grew up like in a time where like we were getting like just fucking. We were told not to say a lot of shit that people say nowadays. We were just, I think, just a lot of pushback against our generation where we wanted to rebel, and millennials rebelled by becoming more left. I think Gen Z rebelled by
We
moving.
came of age with George W. Bush in the White House.
Yeah, exactly. We come of age of like, okay, the cancel culture stuff, woke. And so, and like, now it all makes sense why Gen Z moved to the right. We rebelled against that. Like, as a group, I'm
Well,
not saying
also,
me and Max individually, but we've rebelled against that.
yeah, but like, let's keep in mind, like 80% of everything's the economy for sure. And then the rest of it's
Yeah.
like culture and trivia. But, you know, when I was a kid, they would make all kinds of really dumb movies that would feed that need for me to be like emotionally immature and say and listen to dumb shit. And like, I got Tropic Thunder and
Rush Hour.
I got Rush Hour like early. I was like mid-90s. I'm like I got those type of movies and they're not making anything like that right now. And I don't understand why because like I still want to see it and based on what I see from like the comedy world, like I've gone and seen basically every comedian that turned against the Democratic Party since the election. I liked a lot of them before that. I went to Burt Kreischer at the United Center like 4 or 5 months before the election. I was basically at a Trump rally and I had a blast because Bert's hilarious.
How have we let them win, like, take
You
comedy?
deserve a Tropic Thunder too.
Like, how have we let the right claim comedy? That's something that I've just never
It became
got.
unfun. Like we try to make
Yeah.
everybody feel safe. And like Max, I think it was you saying that, like, I think it's especially true for young men. Like young men are more emotionally immature than women. That's like a proven fact. But also like it's good to have those outlets with your friends when you're in safe places where you can make fun of it. And like my buddy, he and I are very close. And we had an incident on a trip that we were at where we didn't really know each other. We're part of a group together. And another person asked me what his last name was, and I turned to them and I said his name is I'm not gonna say what it is, but I said what his last name actually was. But it was a very common Chinese last name, so the other person assumed I was being racist, and then started digging into me for being racist. And if you had listened to the way that this person was nagging me, you'd have thought I'd been like, his name is Wang. And I didn't say that. I said what his actual name is. And when he showed up, I went, I'm not gonna say his name. What's your last name? And he said, this is my last name, would confirm that I was saying it right. And then I kind of got in that guy's face for being a dick. But then it sparked a friendship between the original guy and I, where I'm racist to him all the time now, like on purpose. Like I look for like little ways to like nig him and to like dig into him a little bit. And like he loves it. And I tell him all the time, like the moment this becomes too much, you tell me to stop. Because I don't want to hurt you or anything, but like I think this is funny. And if you think it's funny, then I'm all in on this bit. And he's like, you couldn't possibly offend me. And like, that's okay because it's consensual. And it's part of building a relationship, but it's extremely juvenile. It makes our wives very uncomfortable when we're hanging out together. It's hilarious.
Well,
No,
it's like you've never had a friend.
perfect
Yeah.
point.
Right, it's got a
Because
friend.
with
Yeah.
I think this is a phenomenon uniquely with young men, where like our friends that are girls, like in our friend group here at UCLA, they kind of see some of the behavior we engage in, where we kind of make fun of each other, and there's some like culture bashing towards each other, and like we kind of do it all to each other, and it's very like funny. And then they're like, well, like, why are you saying that, Beleh? I'm like, do you see all the shit he says about like my culture? Like,
Right.
like dog. She goes, yeah, but like you guys both shouldn't be saying that. And I'm like, I don't know what to say.
Well,
Dude, it's like
I'm Irish. The way I show affection is by being mean to you. Like I will make fun of you or I will nothing you. Like, so I'm not going to be mean to somebody else. I'll just crack jokes, but the cracking jokes is the way I show affection to people. And like my buddy Kevin is 3 years older than me. I talk about him like he's 70 all the time. He's just 3 years older than me, but I ask him, I will like show up and be like, hey, I got that Medicare form for you, just so you can fill that out. What's it like living on Social Security and shit like that? Like we're in a bar and like it's really dumb, but like the comments will come out of nowhere and they hit him so good when they just come, and that's our bit. And like it's okay to have that stuff. Like we don't have to live in this sanitized world. You can be fun and you can enjoy a joke that's fucking offensive to some group of people. Like it's okay. Shane Gillis has that bit about how like we're about to. He's like, you're not allowed to make fun of this group. You're not allowed to make fun of this group. He's like, Italians are the last group that it's socially acceptable to make fun of right now. And I feel like that one's going to go away any minute. That's like his bit. And I love that bit because I'm Italian and I'm like, it is absolutely socially acceptable to make fun of Italians and Irish people in American society today. I don't have any problem with it as one who is both. But my son on St. Patrick's Day at his preschool, they had him dress up and my son, by the way, is my wife is Swedish, so he doesn't really look. He has like very pale skin. He looks like me, but he's got really white skin. And they put him in a little Irish top hat and a little big thick mustache and a whole goofy ass outfit. And I was like, if that was a fucking sombrero, this place would burn to the ground on the internet. And I don't really care, but like I'm just like noting the problem. Like, you know.
it's one of those things like when you live in the real world, right? When you have actual friends, like, it's like the hallmark of like you have like a multiracial friend group. People will be horrified to hear the way we talk to each other. Like it's like how people actually exist in the real world. Like when your buddy is Indian and your friend is like Chinese and you're Jewish, like it's like a South Park episode. And if anybody else heard that, it would be in jail. Like it's just that's how the shit works. But that's our generation kind of grew up on that on like PlayStation Live calls. Like if they heard the things that we say to our friends, or the way Beleh and I talk to each other, it's like a divorced married couple. Like we just berate each other, but like it's so funny. That's like a hallmark of being friends.
Yeah. I think I saw a meme once that was like there was like a girls friend group and then a guys friend group, and it's like all these like 10 white girls that are like, I'm not racist, I'm not racist, I'm not racist, I'm not racist, I'm not racist. And then next to it it's like a very diverse friend guy group and everyone's saying I'm racist. It's no one just to make sure, most of my friends are not racist, but I think it's like that type of what's the word? I think that's a good way to sum up a lot of young men and their friend groups, like very diverse group, but they say a lot of questionable shit to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always been that way too. Like it wasn't any different when I was a kid. The difference was we didn't have phones in our hands all the time because I'm that fucking old that I had a phone, but it had, I was lucky if it had text messages, and I was limited to like 20 a month, which is, by the way, insane. I used to work at a Blockbuster. That's my other like old man story. If you kids even know what a Blockbuster
What's a
is.
Blockbuster, dude?
Yeah. Do you really seriously not know what a
Actually,
Blockbuster is?
wait. No way, Blay.
I know. Okay, I've seen like TikToks about it. I never went to one growing up because, like, I
Dude, the
think growing up,
last one in my town closed down. It was like 2009. It closed down. It was the best place ever because you could go and get like movies. You could like rent games and shit.
the only thing I remember ever, because we had, I think, like,
Let the podcast know
Netflix was.
I'm literally banging my head on the table right now because I can't handle this.
Okay, so I've never been to a Blockbuster. I remember this one. They used to have like this vending machine outside of the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I remember those.
We used it like twice, but then like there was Netflix growing up, and that was all there. So we had all the digital stuff. Like we were born in 2000, and Max, you're born in 2003. Yeah, I'm born in 2003. So
I was born after 9/11, which is foundational
Yeah.
to my entire life.
you know what? I've heard that. I've really heard that. I've heard that. I'm like, you guys don't understand. I'm like, yeah. I mean, we grew up with like, we still played outside. Like I think we had the best of both worlds in a sense because we had the digital shit, but we also played outside.
Well, do you remember like when iPhones first became a thing? Because I remember like my parents used to have like Blackberries, and I was like, dude, this thing's so cool. And then they got an
Yeah,
iPhone.
my
I was like,
mom too.
We flew right past the technology. They were cool for like 3 years.
Yeah, no, I remember that too.
Blockbuster. So I worked at a Blockbuster. I'm going to explain it for the youngins here. Like a Blockbuster, you can just walk in and rent a movie, and you can walk right out with it. You can bring it back a week later. You can make video games. When you work there, here's the setup I had when I was like 15. It was dope. Is dope still cool? Can I use that, or did I just date?
I think that's so cool. Yeah, I think
that's
it's so cool.
What does Gen Z
Not
way
used as much. It's like now, people instead of dope, I think people say like it's cool. Like, bro, that's sick.
Oh, so cool
Yeah,
has
sick,
come around.
sick.
Sick has come back around. So sick.
Yeah,
was-
sick has come back a lot.
I love sick. I recently was debating with my brother the proper usage of the word yeet because I think he used it wrong. So that's just to let you know about old man Mike Nellis shit. But when I worked there, I could rent 5 movies a week and 2 video games a week for free.
Wow.
Shit,
And
that's a
then it
lot.
was next to a Little Caesars pizza with a $3.99 hot and ready pizza.
Wow, $3.99.
I was the champ of Friday nights with my friends, which I would show up with like 3 pizzas after getting my paycheck and every video game and movie that they could possibly imagine for the weekend. It was awesome. It was awesome. I had that shit figured out.
Now you just like turn
It's
on
gotta be
Max.
cool
You're like, oh, my brother has an
No,
HBO
I'm
Max
like, I can't find
subscription.
anything to watch when there's like 50
Bro, I'm
billion.
like scrolling. I'm like, okay, we can't find shit. My friend goes on Reddit. We still can't find. I'll text Max or Ben or other co-hosts because they have like the whole movie thing. Like I just go to. I'm like, okay, we still can't find anything. We end up watching like a 9/11 documentary. Dead ass, true story. We just end up watching one on YouTube. Like it was pretty cool. It was. I'm not pretty. It was interesting. George Bush
Basically
really
like my
fucked up.
dad watching World War II documentaries on the History Channel.
I will say history documentaries. I don't know if they ever went away for your generation. They're very there for our generation.
I don't know.
Okay, but it's YouTube, but it's like YouTube though.
Very, like, all
Yeah, it's
men
YouTube.
At some point, either like get into like fancy cars when they get
Or like
older.
the
or
Roman
they get, like,
Empire.
historical documentaries. Roman Empire, yeah. How many times a day do you think about the Roman Empire? Because it's not 0.
Never. Like
That's
literally.
bullshit.
Oh,
Bullshit.
dude, no, literally. All my favorite was like, oh, how many times do you think about it? I'm like, never. Like, why would I think about it? They weren't even like industrialized. They barely had like.
Max,
coal
do
power.
you
Like, why-
understand how advanced they were? Do you
Dude, no,
actually
they
understand
weren't.
how advanced
They
they were?
didn't even have enough steam
Yes,
power
they
yet.
were.
Like they
They fucking
collapsed
built
for a
six-
reason.
Steam power yet.
Dude, they're not an
Bro.
actual industrial. Dude,
Their infrastructure. I'll send you
Yeah.
videos. Their infrastructure
Okay,
projects
it
were
was cool. It was cool.
insane.
Okay, the
Insane,
statues
bro.
and
They
shit
would
were cool.
build bridges in like 50-foot depth of water, dog, with fucking their technology.
We go to space, motherfucker. Like we go to Mars.
Yeah, it's
What's your
2025, and you can order like a burger through Uber Eats and get it medium rare.
That's
in
pretty
America.
cool. Why don't we think about that, bro? We got Amazon. You can deliver shit from anywhere in the globe
My
in 2
God,
days.
Max,
That
this
shit's
is
cool.
losing young men by the second. I need you to.
Yeah, no. I mean, Max just got canceled. I think easily.
I did. It's over. It's over.
My wife came home one day and she asked me the TikTok question of how many times do you think about the Roman Empire? My immediate reaction was like, I don't know, like maybe once a week or something. And she thought that was high. And then what I realized was because I'm a Stoic, so I've read Meditations, I carry a copy of it with me, and I was like, Marcus Aurelius, head of the
Exactly.
Roman Empire. I think about it every day because like I have a Marcus Aurelius quote that pops into my head probably every 90 minutes easily.
Bro, Max, they were a fucking republic for like a couple hundred years. Like
Yep.
it was. You know what I would be? So my friends and I always make this joke with the Roman Empire. I think I would be like one of the philosophers on the street, and Beleh would be a pretty cool name for that. I think I think I'd be known in history for being one of those philosophers.
Beleh.
Dude, you'd be Diogenes. You'd be like shitting in the street and like chasing dogs. Like you,
No, I would be, bro. I would legitimately just be like preaching on the street, and then we have a friend named Luis. He's like, bro, I think I'd be a philosopher, and then we're like, yeah, your name doesn't work with that, bro. Like, like, I'm sorry, we're not remembering a Luis, and then
it's
they're
okay.
like,
I'd
we'll
go on.
remember a Beleh.
There
That's
was some
so,
guy out there that like he was like Socrates sucks. I got better things than him. His name was just Dave.
Max, you'd be like I don't
dude.
know
I'd be
what
like an
Max.
emperor, but I'd get stabbed. I would be
No,
like
his
like
name,
one of
his
those
name
ones that
would
gets
be
shanked.
Maximus. Like, let's keep in mind his name
What?
would be Maximus.
Well,
So
my real name is Maximilian. Like
is it?
full.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, way to
that's
tell
like a
me.
Roman emperor name. Yeah.
You'd be
Shit.
the
Oops.
first Jewish Roman emperor, right?
Dude, I would just yeah, and then they'd be like, "Wait, he's a Jew?" Like, and just over, just done.
No, but maybe you could have just easily converted to Christianity for the back 400 years of the Roman.
Yeah.
Just like hid there incognito.
You're like, you know what? That Jesus guy, pretty good. I'll take a seat.
Dude, he was one of us. I always tell people that. I'm like, no, he was Jewish. It was pretty cool. And then he got
Yeah,
like stapled to a piece of wood. But hey,
yeah.
happens.
He was a Jew. It was what are they? He's a socialist Jew. Is that what he is? Is that what people say?
Kind of. I mean, he hung out with like prostitutes and
History
homeless
loves
people.
to smooth over the socialist tendencies of our biggest heroes, but like Jesus for sure, definitely leaning towards socialist. Martin Luther King, massive socialist. Like, and society just loves to be like, no, 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 capitalism is great. We're just gonna cut that stuff off. Jesus literally like tore apart a casino. He was like pissed about it. Great.
Jesus hates gambling.
Do you guys watch? Have
But
you guys
we're
seen that show on Amazon Prime? I forget what it's called. The Disciple about the.
I've
I've
heard of
heard
it. I think
about
I've
it.
seen clips.
I've
Yeah.
watched like a couple episodes. It's good. I need to like get into it. But the trailer for this, it's either upcoming or just release season, is one of the most dramatic things ever because they're getting to the moment where Jesus is finally going to be crucified, and it starts with like the actor that plays Judas sits down and somebody throws like a pile of gold at him, and then like very pop culture music, and it's not this song, but I swear to God, I heard this. It was like, "This is the moment. Tonight is the night," and it's like all Christian.
No way.
It happened.
Yeah,
I
but
And
what
I
wonder
is
was
what my
hype
like,
like
edited? Jesus.
I was like, "This is
my
a great movie."
religious like. I gotta show my religious Catholic parents this. All right, I want to see what they think about this show.
I loved it though because I'm a huge Catholic. And it's foundational to my life. But like
Yeah.
I love anytime like Christianity like really seeps in and meets with pop culture, and I'm like, yes, let's go. We can do these things together.
Here, see, Max. There's more Catholics out there. I'm not the only one.
And we have
There
an
are.
American Pope from the city of Chicago now. Anything's
See,
Chicago,
now that's
yeah.
cool.
yeah, it was
And
awesome.
he criticizes like JD Vance and Donald Trump.
Yeah,
Well,
deep
JD
down,
Vance killed the last guy.
capable of hate. JD Vance would be on the list.
Yeah, that's true.
We
No,
gotta
I
get a
mean,
matching like
Imagine you're JD Vance and you converted to Catholicism.
yeah, he converted to Catholicism. I
Right.
forgot about
Well,
that. Bro, he's not even OG.
let's talk about the week that JD Vance had. The week that, because I think about this all the time. The week that he was that Pope Leo was selected. 3 days before it was, or excuse me, no, it was the week that Pope Francis died. So 3 days before Pope Francis dies, JD Vance, who's an Ohio State graduate, has the entire university, the Ohio State University football team there, having won the national championship against my Fighting Irish. And JD Vance breaks the national championship
Yeah, he
trophy on
dropped
live
it.
TV, looks like an absolute doofus. 3 days later, meets the Pope, or maybe it was like a day later, meets Pope Francis, and then Pope Francis dies
Yes.
6 hours after that. And then a month later, the Vatican is like, we're going to pick the most anti-JD Vance Pope imaginable. That
Like
would set me into
tweets and tweets against JD Vance. That shit's so funny, dude.
It's amazing.
What a fucking horrible. Yeah, and usually, like Max explained this. So when they select a new pope, they usually like drift a little from the doctrine of the old pope.
Mhm.
This time they actually stuck with like the Pope Francis realm and the Pope Francis vibes and kind of his So they usually will like pick someone that's very like part of it is political and strategical, but they'll usually like drift away from Pope Francis ideology, but they picked someone that was like pretty much in line with his ideology.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, they picked the guy whose job it was to pick the Cardinals for.
Yeah, and Pope Francis selected him to pick the card. Yeah, so there was a lot of
Which
trust
is-
there.
I mean, there's a good House of Cards spinoff if somebody really wanted to do it from it.
Oh, have you seen that one movie on Prime, Conclave?
Yeah, I've seen Conclave.
Okay, I've been meaning to watch it. I heard it's actually really good.
There's my favorite scene in Conclave is. You mind if I share it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to spoil it for it. There's a moment where the main cardinal who's running the conclave, and the conclave's about to start, and there's some squirreliness going on, and this like priest who is not invited to the conclave is like, I need to meet with you. Like, please, 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 I need to meet with you. And he's like, I need you to hear my confession. Who is it? It's Rafe Fiennes. Rafe Fiennes' character's like, I don't have time for your confession. Just tell me what happened. And I'm like, that's literally what confession is.
It is what
I was like, you just say like a couple of prayers, you listen to what he says, and then you tell him to go say 10 Hail Marys. Like, it's not a complicated process. And I had to pause
basically what
the
it
movie.
is.
I had to pause the movie because I was wheezing, and my wife, who's an evangelical, did not understand why I thought it was so funny. It was great. The Real Housewives of Vatican City is what I call it.
That's crazy.
That's
That's pretty
funny.
funny. I don't know. I've like always wondered what I didn't know that Catholics were like discriminated against in the like. So when I was learning about like I'm a big U.S. history guy, so I was like, wait, so JFK was attacked for being Catholic? I'm like, that's so weird. I thought we were liked in America, and I was like, oh,
No,
I
I mean, his political opponent said that the Vatican would control every
control the White House. Yeah,
control the White House, and that was a big thing. Is anti-Catholic sentiment was real. I think people don't know that the Ku Klux Klan, as much as they were, for sure anti-black, right? They were also anti-Jewish. They were also anti-Catholic. They were anti-Italian. They were anti-Irish. So there is like a collection and a whitewashing of this in history, which is like I tell my mom is Italian, and my mom looks Italian. She's very dark skin colored, and I'm like maybe halfway there between there and my dad. I tell my mom all the time, like when they're done with like black people and brown people, you're next. You understand that? Because like you're white now, but when you were born, basically, you were not considered white. You would not have been allowed in a golf on a golf course because of how dark you are. And I don't think my mom understands that because in her upbringing, like she grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, so it really wasn't like that up there for the most part.
like Joe Biden.
Just like Joe Biden, that's right. Just like and Michael Scott, the Electric City. But I don't think people understand. I think in the same way, like I saw a tweet that really pissed me off once, where somebody was like, it was something. It was during the George Floyd protests, and no, I don't remember exactly what was going on. So I'm going to get this wrong, but it was there was a black activist who tweeted something that went super viral, and I think he was either around George Floyd or something like that. That was like, "Where's the solidarity from the Jewish community?" This was during the Israeli attacks a few, and some black activist was like, "Whoa, I'm not going to get involved in this because when has the Jewish community ever done anything for me?"
That's
Why don't you learn your fucking history
true.
about the Jewish religious community and rabbis and Catholic priests
Yeah.
were marching alongside Martin Luther King? Like that is a very real thing. Like Father Hesburgh, who was the head of University of Notre Dame, left the University of Notre Dame and went down to Birmingham, Alabama, excuse me, and marched with Dr. King on the bridge. And I think and that's a big part of Notre Dame's story, but I think people don't know that unless they're engaged in that community. And like there is a lot of like collective work that has been done to support these communities in the past because the same people that want to go after the gay community, that want to go after black people, that want to go after Hispanic people, that want to go after immigrants, they want to also go after Catholics when they can. It's just not socially acceptable anymore. They want to go after the Jewish community. That's unfortunately more socially acceptable than it's ever been in my lifetime, at least, which is gross.
Dude, it's
But
insane. It's
people
genuinely
don't know
insane.
that because we don't teach people.
Yeah. Well, people don't even know. Like, it's like the whole thing of going like this whole history of like the Jewish and like African American like, Community Alliance, like in like Chicago in particular. Like that's like that whole history there. It's like people don't think about that. It's a whole uncovered thing that we don't talk about. And I love that you brought up the Irish books. Like I think about the one Alex, my girlfriend's Irish, and it's like we forget that like I don't know 80 years ago like it was like I mean like second class.
Irish need not apply. Irish need not apply. Those signs were everywhere. 100
Yeah.
years.
What's insane? It's like for us that's just a different world. But I mean, Irish, Italian, like all these things, like being like different citizens. It's like that. My grandfather like almost cried when he found out he was part Polish. Like he thought he was 100% German. He almost cried in like 2025 finding that out. And I was like, why are we? I don't understand. My mom was like, no, you don't understand. Like it was like he barely was allowed to marry my grandmother who was Polish. And I'm like, what? Like it's like they're right here. Who like what?
It's a good point.
We've come a long way on that stuff, but it's a lot easier for me because 3 generations in, I look basically like everybody else. And it's different when you're black or Hispanic or Asian. Like it's different. And so it's not the same, but it is the kind of thing that I think over time does continue to get better. And we're going through a dark time right now where we have like the worst possible fucking people leading the government. And just posting and doing horrible shit. But like I do think it gets better over time. But again, easier for white presenting Europeans.
Yeah, that's the same thing with like I'm Middle Eastern, so I didn't really grow up with much. I can't claim I grew up with like discrimination. I didn't really grow up much discrimination, so I think that's pretty similar to me. And I've never been able to like carry that mantle, so it's tough. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a real thing, but we should also acknowledge that like all these other groups also have fucking been through it and gone through it, and
100%.
I mean, yeah. So
What's interesting,
look,
right? Yeah.
it's naive, but I'm still somebody that's like, there's more that unites us than divides us. And
definitely.
and I'm someone who, like, I want to engage with as many cultures as I can and, like, travel as often as I can and go see places and, like,
Like, also great food, like, these
oh my
the
god.
you can get oh my god,
I
like,
I'd say my one of
good.
my favorite phrases about food is that if I'm the only white person in the restaurant, I'm gonna have the best meal of my life. I believe
That's
it's great. There's nothing I love more than, like, being in, like, a ramen place and feeling very out of place and then walking in and going, "Make me the spiciest version of this, but don't ruin the flavor," and then having the person at the other end go, "You can't handle that." And then they'll bring it to me and then they'll watch me eat it and then watch to see if I fall apart and I don't. I love doing
Are you
shit.
good with spice? Are you good with
I'm
spicy
great with
food?
spice. And
I can't do
I love
spicy food.
Indian food. I love Mexican food. I love ramen. I don't like sushi. I don't fuck with sushi. This is I don't
Wow.
sorry. I
Wow.
don't I know that that's a like a minority opinion. I can't stand it. It's like a texture issue.
That's not just
That's
a
fair.
minority opinion, that's like a when I was a little kid, I couldn't eat sushi. Like, come on, man.
I can't eat sushi. I've never been able to do it. The good news is every sushi place has a teriyaki chicken that's usually or like a
Yeah.
BLT
Yeah.
or Cuban. Yeah.
There's no better feeling in the world than being like the one white boy at the carne asada and like they're cooking you up with like the beans, tacos, like like just all the good shit. And you're sitting there, they're like, oh, okay, okay. And they cook your little taco, they got the onions, you know when they grill the onions and they spring on top of the cilantro? Love it.
So good. When
Mhm.
it comes to I'm sure you've had tacos here in SoCal. I mean, I think we have the best I think undoubtedly Southern California has the best Mexican food in the country. I don't even
100%
think that's, like, comparable.
incomparable.
I don't think that's comparable. Like, it's just
I think
not,
that's fair.
man.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I just think it's,
Nothing
like
beats like Mexico City though. Not even close.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
I would.
like here God, oh my god. You can just go down the
Good
street, like
places in Chicago though. There's some really good places.
you know what? I when I was in Chicago, I had really good pupusas from it's Salvadorian, but like really good other Hispanic food. Really good because I think there's like a sizable Salvadorian population there. Um, great pupusas, like really good pupusas. Also one good thing about Chicago, I do like your guys' public transportation, and I was
Chicago's
surprised about how
Chicago's the
walkable
best
it
city in
was.
America. It's the best city in America. I'll die on that hill. It's big but affordable. There's something to do all the time. The lake is right there. It's publicly accessible to everybody.
It
There's you can
is.
throw a rock and hit a park.
I didn't go during the winter, I will say, so I don't. I think my Southern California ass would literally like fall apart and die.
Here's the thing. 3 months of the year, it's Hoth from Star Wars. That's terrible, but climate change will solve that over time. So
Okay, let's go. A
Problem solved.
positive ramification
the
of
worst
climate
part of that
change.
problem is that for 3 months of the year, it'll be Dune. So
That's fair enough. I'm moving to Hyde
Max, you're
Park
moving to
in about a month.
Chicago.
I would say I'm moving to Hyde Park in about a little less than a month now. So I'm excited.
let me
Yeah.
know when you're here. I'll take
Yep.
you. We're going out.
Hell yeah. Going here
I love
downtown. I was gonna say
I love Chicago restaurant scene. It's so good. So many
fuck
good
yeah.
restaurants.
Nowhere bad to
It's
go. I
amazing,
finally
man.
went to the Sharks game. We got the hot dog with the works. I got the big like Polish sausage with the sauerkraut and the onion. It was fantastic.
Wrigley, much
What
better.
a Chicago
Yeah, yeah.
experience. What a Chicago
Dude, they
experience.
had the Pope hats with like him hitting the baseball. I was like,
It's
this is
great.
so cool.
I have a blue shirt that I bought that says Sweet Pope Chicago that like I cut the sleeves off of it so I can wear it around the house.
How Catholic is Chicago?
Pretty Catholic. I mean, I'm not saying it's the dominant, but like
Yeah,
Irish Catholic,
yeah,
a pretty good
makes
contingent.
sense.
It's interesting. There's like a big like religious community out there. Like there's the Jewish side, there's like the Catholic side. Like there's a really big kind of diverse like, religious community out there in Chicago.
The Chinatown in Chicago, I remember visiting. The Chinatown was great. It was so cool. It was like and the food there was just amazing.
Chinatown's
Oh my
amazing.
god.
My friend that I talked about earlier who's Chinese took me to a place. I'd never heard him speak Mandarin before. We walked in, he started speaking Mandarin. All of a sudden, we're at a table, and they brought out more food than I've ever seen in my entire life. And I was like, "Are you part of the triad? Like, what's happening here? I don't understand." And there's just every meal, every food they brought out was incredible. I had some like spicy edamame thing that they made for me that was like incredible.
Wow.
And it wasn't edamame, but it was like that. I don't know what it's called. I immediately forget the names of anything that I eat. I have another friend that I go to Indian restaurants with all the time. He'll be like, "Remember that blah 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 thing we had?" And like, no. And he's like, "Remember that green thing we ate once?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was amazing."
If the food's good enough, you don't remember. Like you just like it was good. I was too busy enjoying the food then to remember the
But
name.
I can remember every specific meal I've ever had in Italy and exactly where they were. So like that's just yeah,
Sounds
that's
so good,
primal.
dude. Fuck. My friend Luis, he's from Panama. His family owns like the second most popular, like it's the second oldest Italian restaurant in Panama. Super popular, amazing food, and like the president will go there. They're like politicians will go there, diplomats. So when he cooks up like Italian food, it's like holy fuck. You know, I won't be racist towards the Italians today.
I firmly believe that everywhere in the world I could find a good Italian place with a good immigrant story. And even if I was in the middle of Pyongyang, I'd be able to find like an Italian restaurant. which is like somebody that was like, yeah, we came over on a boat
Wait,
200 years
you know
ago.
what's so interesting about that? I was watching a YouTube video about how North Korea like sent people to go to Italy or some shit to train them on how to make like good pizzas. So there's like this market now of like Italian pizzas in like in North
like a
Korea.
Roman style pizza. Like
Yeah. Like they sent people to go get trained and stuff. I was just watching it. It had like 2
had
million
access to the
views.
internet. They could have just watched a YouTube tutorial.
Yeah, but
It's like
maybe they were
the ones
also
that
using it as like a spy mechanism as well. I mean,
Sneak in some of those like KitchenAid attachments where you can make your own homemade pasta.
like taking fucking
I'm just trying to imagine. I'm trying to imagine customs with like a bunch of North Koreans that were smuggled in, like coming out and like, what did they have?
a
Drugs
mixer.
or what? They were like KitchenAids.
there's some yeast, some pepperoni.
They had 10 kilos of double up flour.
North Korea has like Catholic churches and mosques. Like if you, it's so
They have
weird. Like
I'm pretty sure they have a
yeah,
cardinal.
it's like it's like part of their new effort, recently built-ish, like part of their new effort to like quote unquote reopen other modernize and add some bullshit. But like if you go on Apple Maps or Google Maps, you can dead ass zoom in and see like the buildings in North Korea and like because they can't block that, you can see like the camps where they send prisoners and all that
I still
shit too. It's like crazy.
It's crazy.
still remember when like there's this meme going around when we were like beefing with North Korea in like 2017, where it was like the one light in North Korea, and then it was like the one person on Steam in North Korea. I was like, dude, is Kim Jong Un like playing like Rust or something?
100%. 100%.
That's pretty
Well,
funny.
Mike, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up here. Anything else you want to leave reverse before we go ahead and hit the road?
No, I enjoyed this. We need more young people that are doing this. I'm no longer young, so I appreciate this.
Young in the heart, dude.
Young at heart.
37's the new 20.
There you go. 37 is the new 20. I don't know how I feel about that. But anyway, guys, this has been great. Please keep doing this work because we need you. We do.
Thank you, Mike.
Great.
Great conversation. We'll
much,
have
Mike.
you back on again. We'd love to talk to you. We got to get him with the whole crew, dude. Oh my god,
Well-
imagine the whole crew with Mike.
Yeah.
And then we'll shame him for not playing GTA 6.
Yeah, no, trust me. There's gonna be a lot of shame there.
I'll make you a deal. I'll play GTA 6 with you live on Twitch.
I'm so down.
all right,
Let's do
dude.
that shit when it comes out in a year because also Trump's tariffs affected. They said Trump's tariffs affected some of the shit too. I don't know. I don't know how the fuck that makes sense, but there was something going on there. I think they just like making
computer chips.
It's just fucking up everything. Like it's fucked up everything.
the Switch. Yeah, the new Nintendo Switch or something. I know it fucked
It was
up
delayed
that.
and they increased the price
Yeah.
of the accessories. Like
Motherfucker, I
That's
want
how-
my cheap Nintendo Switch.
right. I mean, hot take. I think people like cheap shit.
Yeah, they do.
You
They do
stake
like
your
cheap
career
shit.
on not giving people cheap shit. You're gonna be in trouble.
People do like cheap shit, but I think people also will sometimes pay more if it's made in America. There is that.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of there's
I
a
mean,
little
like
pride.
I've been test driving Rivian trucks, which are made right here in Illinois, and I'm a bit obsessed with them in the SUV. So I may pay more for that just to have a car that was made right here in the great.
Dude, fuck yeah! American cars
That's
are amazing too. Like we have really good quality cars. Like people forget that. Like our cars, and the price is comparable.
We're getting better.
Like
We're getting better. We're learning.
the prices are comparable. I will say, especially now. Like, yeah, our
We'll get there
cars are
eventually.
fucking badass, Max. Come on.
Okay, listen. They're cool cars, but like we are not gas efficient. So it's like, do I want to spend
No,
like $90 when I go to the gas station? Fuck no.
they're getting better though, and I will say like I have a Honda Accord right now, but I think my next car will be like a Ford. I fuck with like Ford a lot. Really like Ford.
Some of those
You ever
Ford
driven, like,
electric cars are pretty fucking nice.
Dude, the Ford Lightnings,
Yeah.
the trucks, others are. I drove one of those in Hawaii. They're pretty sick.
Yeah. No, you gotta get like a car that runs on diesel, bro. Just fucking let that shit rip. Post
Motherfucker,
videos of you like going around.
So congratulations.
No, because like Beto, when Beto actually ran a good race in 2018 and actually came close, people forget like 2.5 points within Ted Cruz. He had his fucking Ford truck. I think it was a Ford truck, diesel, driving around. He drove to like every single county with that truck. Like, and that was part of his mechanism. He would drive himself, go around, meet people, take videos, be like, it's pretty fucking
He used
sick.
to shoot
Like,
because I worked on his race. He did these great direct to camera videos that we'd put up on Facebook, and he'd be like, "Hey guys, I'm just filling up my gas tank here. It was whatever it was, $35 to fill up the tank today. If you're willing to donate $35 to support this campaign, you'll be covering the cost of this ride from here where I'm driving from Houston to Dallas."
like that's, you see that type of like
That's awesome.
fucking no. I still fuck with him a lot. I like him a lot. I wish he wasn't in Texas. It's just so hard there. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I like him. No, he's a cool guy. He's good on podcasts too. He's great on podcasts. I'm a big Wes Moore fan. Just gotta put that out there real quick. Like Wes Moore, John Ossoff. Just
I like John.
damn. Oh my god, he's like.
I just want a Jewish president.
Week.
I want to do in the White House.
He like does the Obama-ish, but it's not Josh
Schmidt?
Shapiro. It's just very like sleek. Oh my god, it's like
Josh
Josh
Shapiro
Shapiro does
has
his
the,
Obama
and
impression.
I like Josh Shapiro quite a bit, but he
I
has the
like
Barack
him.
Obama problem that like people talk about, where he sounds exactly like him. That's a real problem to get over.
Yeah, and I think John Ossoff is like, he was talking about the Epstein files at his rally, and there was this clip that went viral, and it was like just nailed it, fucking on the mark, target. And then he talks about like big money in politics. Now that's an issue that like a lot of people like across the spectrum give a fuck about. Like no matter what you think about the issue, a lot of people care about big money in politics. And so I think he really is able to tap into those ideas. And he's like, look, Republicans can't say shit about debt. They can't talk about debt. And, they want to, and he puts it perfectly. He's like, they want to increase our debt to give more tax cuts to the rich and prohibit your children from being able to get health care. And it's like this great, like, just package. He connects everything together. Young, tall, handsome, which I think does matter in politics. I think bro has it all. He's like he has a kid, family man, young. We did like a tier list of the candidates a couple days ago. Max, you weren't there. Him, Ruben Gallego, and Westmore, we all agreed were on the highest tier list for us.
You put them on S tier?
We put them on S tier.
Listen, I'm not old. I know what an S tier is.
We gotta do a tier list. So we thought though, and Gallego, fucking amazing.
Presidential S tier, but you're gonna find out how low Gavin Newsom ends up on that list for me as well.
Okay, Newsom was pretty high. And let me just say something. A couple months ago, I was like, yeah, I thought he's done some good stuff in California. I think a lot of the issues aren't his problems, and he's doing good stuff now with housing. But like after seeing him go on Sean Ryan's show for 4.5 hours, and I listened to like half of that, I was like, this guy can fucking like, holy fuck, this guy's good. Like he is very good at the communication aspect. He's good at like just hopping on Twitter first thing in the morning. Like, how did my opponents fuck up? How did Trump fuck up? Tweet about it. How did JD Vance fuck up? Tweet about it. How did Ron DeSantis fuck up? Tweet about it. He is like fucking on that shit. And like maybe not the best 2028 candidate, but I will say if he can like lessen the California baggage, it's a real thing. California baggage is a real thing. I think he'd have a chance, but
I don't think this country's ready to elect anybody from California to the presidency. I also think that Gavin Newsom, if you built a presidential candidate in a lab by Republicans to run against, they would make Gavin Newsom. Like he is.
But I like how he just rips it. He goes on everything, dude.
Very good online. Very good stuff. He's gonna make he's a great content creator.
He's a good debater too. He did pretty good against Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, he also got his clock cleaned by Stephen Bannon and Charlie Kirk on his own podcast. So I'm not so sure about that.
But yeah, John Ossoff. What do you think of Gallego? Ruben Gallego from Arizona.
I love Gallego. I think he's great. I had him on it. He was
amazing.
He was my first guest on Endless Urgency. No reason for him.
No fucking way.
Oh yeah,
I gotta listen to that. He's so cool. He's amazing.
By the way, he left halfway through for votes. I was like, God damn, this is my first episode. It was over in like 18 minutes because he had to go.
That's sick. Funny. That's sick. I think Mr. Gallego, cool guy. I like him a lot too. I think he
I like anybody that's going to wake up in the morning and get some shit done and help people and build a stronger, better Democratic Party. So like, if that's Gavin Newsom, fine. But like, I would say he's not my flavor of Democrat, but I love Gretchen Whitmer.
I like Big Gretch.
I love Pete Buttigieg. I love Cory Booker. I really like Wes Moore.
I love Wes Moore. Max, how long have I been talking about Wes
He
Moore,
never
dude?
shuts the fuck up about it. It's like his favorite thing in the world.
I think he's great.
He likes to get shit done. Like there was a bill that went to his desk. It was like a study about reparations. He vetoed it, and a lot of people in the Maryland state legislature were pissed about it. He's like, why are we passing studies? I want to stop passing studies. Pass me shit that actually affects people's lives. We got to stop with these like endless studies and so his attitude is like, he just said it like in South Carolina, he's like, let's get shit done. We gotta be the party that gets things done.
Gretchen Whitmer's the same way. Like I love Gretchen.
The same way. I love Gretch. Max, remember when the Biden debate happened? What was my ticket? Hold on, I gotta brag about this for 1 second. Me and Max were on a phone call the second the Biden debate ended. I'm like, we're fucked. We're done. That's it. Pack it up. Gone. But I'm like, Max, he needs to drop out. I was like, love Kamala Harris, but I thought her main issue wasn't actually like her herself. I think it was her tie to Joe Biden. I really think it was
didn't help.
That really screwed off. So I was like, I've met her 3 times. She's so nice. I think she's really smart. And I think if she runs for California governor, she'll do an amazing fucking job. I know housing is a big issue for her, but I really thought, I told Max the second debate, I'm like, it needs to be Gretchen Whitmer on top, Westmore on bottom. And guess who else held that same ticket? Barack Obama. That was Barack Obama's ticket.
My addendum to that is because I argued at the time it was Whitmer and it was Warnock. Those are the two that I would.
Warnock has some baggage that
They all
he
have
needs to.
baggage. Westmore has
Yeah, they
baggage.
all have baggage. I like Warnock, but the reason the
I
Whitmer
don't need
Moore
Maryland. I get
combination.
Georgia. I get Georgia and I get Michigan in that.
But we remember. I let's stop playing this game of like, hey, let's pick someone from a swing state. It doesn't fucking work out. It's like it's
When was the
minimal,
last time
man.
we did it to fucking find out?
That's
I
the point.
think picking a candidate who's
Listen, Barack Obama from Illinois, Joe Biden's from Delaware, Hillary Clinton's from New York or Scranton or Florida or Arkansas, depending upon the day. And she's got a lot
Tim
of
Walz from Minnesota, and
Walz from
Kamala didn't do that
Minnesota.
much, but she did worse there than Biden did in 2020.
everywhere than Biden.
Yeah,
did.
that's true. That's a good. Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
which by the way is not a reflection of Kamala Harris, is a reflection of the
No.
economy.
I think the fact that she took it from a 7-point race at 1.7 point, like I was like, I kept telling people, just 3 months, dog.
We were about to walk into a 1984 or
Done.
1984 style wipeout. It was going to
Collapse. New Jersey was going to be gone. New Mexico was going to be gone.
Senate seats. Imagine if he had 58.
Yeah. No, I tell people this all, and the people that are now like Jamie Harrison going on there saying our problem is that we weren't loyal enough to Joe Biden. I was like,
I love Jamie. Listen, I love Jamie. I think he took the worst job in politics and he took a lot of heat for shit that wasn't his fault. That is a bad take. It's a bad take.
oh my God, that's not just a bad take, dude. That's an insanely horrible fucking take.
The only good decision we made last year was making that switch. It was. And it was necessary. And I'm sorry to Joe Biden, who I love, but he should not have run and we should have had a full primary. And let me point out that the 2 times we lost to Donald Trump were the years we did not have full primaries that were vibrant and with full fields. Because
people were scared to run in 2016.
Scared to run against Hillary Clinton because they didn't think they could beat her. And Bernie consolidated the anti-Hillary vote and catapulted himself to amazing places. In 2020, we had a full field, and the field, for some reason, decided it was Joe Biden. I don't understand why.
Democratic voters were
Joe,
scared.
So don't take me as a Joe hater, but it's just like I felt like we had better candidates, including Kamala, in that cycle. And then this last time we didn't have any primary, which was fun.
Mike, I think we're too cautious. That's our issue. Just like you said, and Joe Biden was the safe choice. We're like Democratic voters when they were polled in 2020. You obviously know this. It was like your number one criteria was beating Donald Trump, and so that was their number one criteria. So when they were picking Biden, it was like, yeah, he's probably the safest one. Probably would perform the best in the 2020 election.
It was Obama nostalgia, and there was just enough of it left to get him over the finish line. While Donald Trump was mismanaging the worst health epidemic of my lifetime, of probably like anybody's lifetime right now, since like the Spanish flu or whatever. But he barely won. I mean, the part of the problem is like the Democrats didn't recognize the warning signs that were there. And I talked a lot about this, not externally because I wasn't a public figure at that point, but like we barely won in 2020, and then we acted like we'd done something amazing, which we did. I mean, it's hard to beat an incumbent president. And then in 2022, Joe Biden overperforms. Democrats overperformed the red wave. We acted like we had won when we lost the fucking House. And so
I think, and people attribute, and then I think people, here's the thing. I was thinking about this. I wish we had suffered major defeats in that midterm, because I think there would have been a bigger push to maybe get Joe Biden to get out of the race early. But I don't even know. The thing is, I'm not even too sure.
He would not have been able to politically stop someone serious from running against him had he had a worse.
Why didn't Gretchen because at the time I remember I was like thinking like, fuck, dude, I wish like one of these governors would just fuck it, get in the race. Don't be scared.
Honestly, he's not my favorite Democrat, but I really thought Ro Khanna was going to run for president. And if I were Ro Khanna, I would have. It's a very Ro Khanna move.
And Dean Phillips, no matter what we think about him, I think it does take balls to jump in the race and like, I think it takes some.
Dean Phillips is pissing me off now though, because he's saying that the Democratic Party isn't big enough for him and Zoran Mondani, and he can.
I'm like, that's our issue. We need to just be a party that's anyone that wants to. You agree with us on like 2 issues, 1 issue, come along. That's what Republicans do. I don't give a fuck.
Preserving democracy is important. Do you wake up every day and think about how to help other people? I'm good with that. I wrote a piece on my Substack is that like I'm comfortable with the Democratic Party that ranges from Zoran Mondani to Joe Walsh, who's a former Republican congressman.
And Joe Walsh was on Twitter defending Zoran, was like, the party's big enough for both of us. Like, that's our issue. You guys need to stop being so like narrow-minded and means testing who can be a Democrat or on the left. I'm like, this is why we fucking lose, bro. Like, the right doesn't give a fuck. Trump does, because Trump's like
politics is a game of addition. And when I tweeted at Dean Phillips, and I meant it, was like Zoran Mondani won his primary and Dean Phillips didn't. But I think the party's big enough for both of them.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Okay, Mike,
I'm a very good.
We gotta have you on again, dude. I'm gonna fucking follow you right now. We gotta have you on. We have to have you on again with like the whole crew. I think it'd be
for
funny
sure.
as fuck. And dude, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming to us. I know we had to like reschedule stuff, so thank you for being patient with us. And hopefully you can get that fucking room fixed for the school and go in with your drill and get some shit done, because that's what we need to be doing as a party.
That we got fixed, but it took like a lot of cajoling to get the engineering.
There you go.
But we got to get the roof fixed. The roof is the problem.
Okay, just fucking call some contractors. I know there's probably a lot in Chicago.
Oh,
There
but
you
Dude, I'll
go.
come out for a weekend.
For it, I got to get the money for it, because you think fixing a roof on a house is bad? Imagine doing it for a public school. Like it's bad. It's bad.
Or doing the Lord's work. Doing the Lord's work.
Thanks, guys. This was
Thank
a
you,
lot.
Mike.